ESPN.
What up, nation? It's your boy Tommy Shake and Bake doing the single man show once again for the Wise Take Nation and all our followers out there. So we got ourselves a doubleheader this weekend, man. 2 races. We got one today, one tomorrow. Both of them starting 3:50 today. I think 4 o'clock tomorrow is what the lock is. So, you know, that's interesting. It's going to be the same cars that they run Saturday. They're going to be running on Sunday, I guess, unless they total it and have to go to a backup car. But then that's going to create some crazy value even for Sunday. But you know, Saturday, we got a regular pill draw, no practice, no qualifying again. So, you know, pretty much what we've seen here over the last, few months since we've come back from coronavirus. And I think it's going to probably stay something close to that until maybe they get, 15, 20-minute qualifying and maybe, real quick, 15, 20-minute practice and then, go out and qualify and try to do all of it in the same day. But, we'll see what's going to go on with that. So we're here at Pocono Speedway up in Long Pond, Pennsylvania, nicknamed the Tricky Triangle for a reason because it's a crazy 3-cornered triangle-shaped track, fairly flat. If you're going to compare it to any other track on the circuit, Indianapolis is close just because it's another flat multi-turn oval where Indy's closer to a square. But still a little bit crazy. You can't really correlate the two of them very much. Maybe you look at how they finished in the last season, or two with this new 550 horsepower and lower downforce package. So, really short races this week, not a ton of, DraftKings and even FanDuel points are almost non-existent. So, Pocono plays out pretty differently every time, so you gotta play your lineups a little bit. Try to blend them out. 1, 2, 3 dominators. I don't even think the dominators are going to be, super dominant. You're looking at a guy maybe leading 20, 30 laps, a couple of them, or Kyle Busch is really good here. Has led close to 50, 60 laps in 2 races, the last 2. So, if it's something like that, then you're not forcing yourself trying to force in these place differential guys because you're trying to stack too much at the top. You can play fairly blended. Pricing this week is pretty easy to build around. You've got a couple of cheap guys in the 5-6K range that are pretty solid plays down there that lets you pretty much do whatever you want, with these guys at like 8,500 and above. I've built a couple, just messing around before getting to, building the rest of my teams for today. But, we'll jump right into it, man. Christopher Bell topping the list this week at 11-1, starting 36th. Everybody's like, well, okay. I could see Bell finishing 20th, 25th, maybe easily. But at 11-1 over some of these other guys that are going to be your dominator plays, I don't think you're going to have to go there too much. I mean, I'm sure he's going to garnish some ownership just because if he goes out and gets you a top 15 or top 10, he's going to be probably one of the highest scoring guys on the slate. But that's going to be a long road, man. I think if he's going to get there for you, it's going to be on strategy just because Pocono, the variance at a track like this isn't from the wrecks like it would be at, 100% of super speedway, which it wasn't last week, which kind of sucked. But, we'll move on, get to some of these tracks that we like even more. But like I said, it's going to be a long road for Christopher Bell, I think, to hit chalk, to hit optimal. But I know if you're playing 20 teams, you're going to put him on a few. Just because if he does go out there and do it, you're going to probably need him. I could see him probably being 20, 25%. Next, we jump into Chase Elliott, who's starting 5th. Chase Elliott is also another driver that is really fast all season, really fast at this track. Chevys are looking good. Chase Elliott's finished inside the top 5 a few times here. He almost feels this track with Chase Elliott's almost like a Stenhouse feeling. I still think he's going to be fairly popular, probably somewhere in that like 25 to 30% range, just because he is really good and he's been really fast all season. But, you're going to need a couple of dominator points out of him. Like I said, maybe 15, 20 laps and, a solid top 5 finish or, more dominator points and try to keep it inside the top 10, which is something that he could easily do. In this 10K range, Joey Logano is probably going to be the lowest owned guy here, which is a little crazy. I kind of like that. People are going to either take the Chase Elliott that they think is a little bit safer or take the price savings and, these guys that are below him. So, I think people are going to pass over him a little bit. So, I do like that. Yeah, he's got no top fives in the last 5, and then a couple of top 10s, but he's just not great here. But it's track history is just that's why people, I think, is the other reason that people are going to be turned off on Joey Logano. But I like if I can get one of these Penske cars. I don't think his teammate Keselowski is going to be much more or less popular. So if I can get a piece of these guys at like sub 20% ownership, and these guys go out and do what they could do. Especially again with strategy, both of them starting inside the top 10, both will have to dominate to get you there, but they've got a good chance of it. So, I could definitely see you going there. And then Kevin Harvic in this price range has just been super fast. I would say if you were going to go from the safe option, he's probably the safest in the 10K range, just because you're looking at a 9th, you're expecting a top 5. It goes out there and, finishes 3rd or 4th and gets you, 10, 15 fastest laps or laps led or something like that, gets you maybe an extra 10, DK points, and he can get you there too. So, if you're looking at the 10K range, like I said, it's going to be all these guys pretty much at 9K and above. It's these are going to be the pieces that are going to either be important, either based on the place differential that they have that's organically built in, or these guys that are starting inside the top 10 and are going to have to get you some dominator points to pay off. So I guess we'll just keep rolling right through it. You got Brad Keselowski starting 8th. Like I said, with him and Logano, I expect these guys to probably come in sub 20%. Harvic being somebody probably around 30, and then, like I said, Bell a little bit higher just because people think he's safe, but the rest of those guys are going to all be probably right around that 20% range, and it just keeps rolling on through this 9K range. Keselowski, same thing. I don't expect him to be super high owned. Again, you get a couple extra place differential points. You're getting a $500 savings over Logano, so I could see you going either way on those two guys. I don't think you would potentially need both, but I wouldn't hate you playing both. It's just that the Toyotas are so dominant here at Long Pond. I think they got 5 wins over the last 5 races between Hamlin, Kyle Busch, and Martin Truex. So, and then next guy on the list, Martin Truex. You do love that 11th place starting position. Last year didn't go the way he wanted it. The car blew up pretty early in the race. He ended up finishing deep in the 30s. But then went to bed and back in the fall race and finished 3rd. So, Truex is somebody that's good here. He's in a Toyota. They're fast. So I could definitely see Truex garnishing some crazy ownership this week. Not, anything over like 50%, but I could definitely see him, breaking somewhere over that 30% range, because him and Harvic are just, they're fairly safe if you're going to be spending up here, and you're going to have the money if you play some of these safer, cheap guys in that 5-6K range. Clint Bowyer, I do love the fact that he's starting 18th. So, you're not asking that much out of Clint Bowyer. Clint Bowyer at 9,500 is probably going to have to get you somewhere into the low, the mid single digits, 7th, 8th, something like that. Get you 8-10 place differential points at least to be optimal. So, I could see you going with some Clint Bowyer. I don't think his ownership's going to be crazy just because he hasn't been that good lately. He's been having lots of issues. So he's not safe, but Clint Bowyer is an equipment that should easily be able to finish top 10. So, like I said, I could definitely see you going with Clint Bowyer as well. And then you're looking at Kurt Busch, and I think he's probably going to be one of the, not Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, I'm sorry. Kyle Busch at like $9,300. Like, what the hell? They definitely missed here. He's just way too cheap. You get 4th. The dude's won 3 races here, I think, in like the last 5. He's led like 50 laps. Like, he's insane. Like, at $9,300, he doesn't even really. You're expecting him to go out and at that price tag, he's got to lead you probably like 10 laps, or get you 10, 15 fastest laps total, and get you like 8 or 9 place differential point, or 8 or 9 dominator points, and then just win the race, which is something that he could easily do. So I think he's going to be probably in this range for sure, the biggest piece of the chalk in this area. And that's going to be your decision in tournaments. Are you going to go over the field? It's probably going to be somewhere in like that 35 to 40, 45% range. And are you going to go play him on 50, 60% of your teams to try to get that advantage because you think he's safe? Or do you say, man, listen, if Kyle Busch goes down, he's taking down half the field, so maybe I'm going to go 25% or 30% and really try to get an edge, when you're building the rest of your team. So Jimmy Johnson, I don't think is going to garnish anything crazy. This track, he's got wins here, but it's hit or miss for him. You don't need a whole ton at 9,100. If he goes out and gets you a top 3, he'll probably pay off. So like I said, I can see you going there, but I think he's going to be somewhere probably in that 10 to 15% range. And with him, you're taking a stand of, like, if you're building a small entry, like you're building 20 teams, it's like, are you Xing him out completely, or are you putting him in like one? So that's where I would stick with you, Jimmy. Ryan Blaney, I do like him as well, starting second, coming off the Dega win last week. It's been super fast, super consistent over the last few races. He's got a win here in 2017. I think with the start of this race is how Blaney's, you'll know in the first 25 laps probably whether Blaney's going to pay off. Blaney gets around Amarola on the start and leads the first stage of the race. 100% Blaney's paying off if he can finish inside the top 5. Amarola gets out, leads the whole first stage, and Blaney is still able to hang around there, like in the second stage, maybe play some pit strategy if something happens to get him back to the front. But, I think Blaney is going to be, somebody that's going to be in that 25% range or so for tomorrow or for today. So I could definitely see you going there. I like Blaney. Like I said, he's got a good shot, and you're not asking a whole ton of him at 9K. Denny Hamlin starting third. I guess he'd be, for me, a little bit safer than, somebody like Blaney. Blaney's kind of aggressive, wants to get out there and go, and then Hamlin is just really good here. Won the July race last year, 5 wins lifetime. I think it was first and sixth here last year, so he's just good. He's really good on flat tracks. He's really good at these, kind of weird shaped, tracks. So, I could definitely see, and at $8,800, and man, again, cheap. Like, Blaney just needs to probably finish in the top 5 to pay off that price tag. So, you're not asking a ton out of somebody that's really, really good here. And then we're rolling to Matt Kenseth. You look at that 22nd place starting position and you just pray, like, is this going to be the race where Kenseth finishes shaking these cobwebs off, man? Like, he's just been just so rusty. I mean, you're looking at last week's -22, 2019. I'm going to need a lot more from that than you from that. Even these 30s, I mean, at the price tag, you're not really getting me there. So, I don't think he's going to have crazy ownership, but again, you're not asking a ton if he goes out and gets you like a top 15, top 10-ish if he gets lucky, and he's paying off an $8,600 price tag. So then we can roll into the Bowman Byron situation, which we always have every week. These two guys are priced literally right around each other every single week, whether it's $100 and which one's up or which one's down. So, we've got William Byron. He's our poster child for the, we were opening up the show this week. I do like Byron. I think he's going to come in around 20, which that's the reason I think I like him a little bit more. The kid has just been ridiculous here. He's cheap. He's got a fourth, a sixth, a fourth, a ninth, a sixth, and an 18th in the last 2. And he's been somebody that's been able to get into the optimal lineup because he usually starts kind of around this spot, 15th, 16th, maybe into the teens, but goes out and does get you a few dominator points. If William Byron somehow gets out and leads 15 laps of this race and then finishes around here, I think he still gets you there at $8,400. So, I do like that. Alex Bowman, you're getting $100 price savings, and you're looking at him. Byron's definitely the safer of the two, young guns at Hendricks. But, Bowman I can play because I think his ownership is going to be low, probably 15%, maybe even a little bit less, just depends on how the field feels. He's been decent lately, but it's been almost kind of hit or miss. You got a 42, a 17, a 49, a 31, like -17. So it's, like I said, very hit or miss. And then he goes out there in a Coke 600 and gets you an 83. So, again, Charlotte, different track, but, just his consistency this season just hasn't been there for us. So, But if this is a hit race and he goes out there and gets you a top 5, top 3, or somehow gets you a couple dominator points and finishes somewhere around the top 10, again, I could see him getting there too. And then we roll into Kurt Busch. The price tag is great. Kurt Busch is decent here. He won the race, I think, in 2016. I think 3 or 4, probably, I think 3 lifetime wins here. So, he's somebody that can get it done. But last year with the package that we're in, he wasn't the greatest. So I don't think he's going to get any ridiculously high ownership, even at $8,100. You're looking for Kurt Busch again as somebody that if he's going to get you there, I think he's going to get you there by leading a good handful of laps and then, turning around and finishing somewhere around where he started and get you inside the top 10, I think is the way he's going to probably have to get you there. So, you can take a stab at him. I think he's probably going to come in sub 10%. So again, I kind of like that. I think if you're going to take stands on people, on these small entry contests, 20, 25 lineups or whatever you're doing, or a couple of singles, it's easy enough. I think with people like this, it's just, you're going to take a stand. Are you playing him or are you not? Like it's, and if you do, you're like, man, I can't completely X him out. You're taking the stand on 1, or you're doing like 3 and you're just taking a big stand because you think he's going to do it. So, that's what you're going to have to do with these entry contests with Kurt. Stenhouse, I think probably around the same thing. I think people even are going to think that Kurt Busch is safer than Stenhouse. He just hasn't been really, really good on these types of tracks. I think his average finish here last year was like 28. So that's between like a Pocono and Indianapolis sample. But yeah, I mean, it's always that, like, again, it's Ricky, you're taking a stand down or you're not. Like, this week he's easy enough if you're building small entries and you're like, track history is the way I'm going to look at this one, and what they've done. Stenhouse, I think, is easy enough for you to X out on a very small entry, contest, or if you're only building 2 or 3, 4 teams, he's easy enough to X out if you're building 20. Like you're playing him 1 or it's 1 or done. So, he's easy enough to get rid of. If you're doing small entry, but if you're going to play some tournaments, it's again, how much of a stand are you taking, and what do you think he can do? Can he come off the second place finish last week and get you there? So, it's $7,900, top 6, top 5. I think for Stenhouse would get you there, or again, somebody that sneaks out there on some strategy and gets you a couple laps light or something like that. We look at like I said, average finishing position, even over the last 10. You're looking at. Come down here. 21st, 32nd. I mean, it's like I said, he's got a 23rd%, even over 10 races a sample. It's not something you like. So again, Stenhouse, like I said, you're taking a stand or you're not. Bubba Wallace, you're looking at somebody that, you do like that place differential, 23rd. How much is like these recent events that he's dealing with affecting him, in the car? Is he going to be somebody that's going to be able to go out there and get you, say, a top 13, top 15, I think is what you're going to need, which means you feel like you're not asking a whole lot. But he's just not, too good here. Finished right around where he's starting both races last year. So it's not safe. I think he's somebody that'll probably come in right around that 10% range. If you're building big contests, you can get pieces of him because you're not asking a whole ton, but you're doing small entry. He's a yay or a nay, for me, left or right, but I still think his ownership's not going to be crazy. MDB, like super cheap, man, $7,600. You're getting him in 21st. MDB just has to go out and get you probably a top 15 to pay off, man. And he's just been so good lately. So, I think he's going to garnish some safety ownership. I could see people saying, like, dude, I like the safety of MDB and cash if I'm playing down here in this, like, $7,600 price range. Like, if you go pick up somebody like an Erik Jones and an MDB, like, you have so much money left on the table that you can just literally scroll right back to the top and just figure out what you want to play with up there. So, like I said, I could definitely see him garnishing a good amount of ownership. Tyler Reddick, no track history here really with Reddick to go off of. I think he's going to garnish a little bit of ownership just because you're looking at 15th. He kind of fits into that Kurt Busch, Ricky Stenhouse like bucket in this price range. Like, you're playing these guys because they're low owned, and like I said, this is where you're taking your stand on your smaller entry, or even your small entry stuff, or like I said with your large entries, I'm maxing out, let's say 150 entry max. You're going to get some exposure to these guys for sure. And then we got our dirt cheap pole sitter and Eric Amarola starting at $7,300, starting on the pole. Like I said, it's going to be him or Blaney that leads this early part of the race. And I mean, you're looking at, for Amarola and Blaney, you're looking at like a $1,700 price difference. So, Amarola, somebody that hope to God that he leads the first 15, 20 laps of this race, and then is just able to finish inside the top 10. Pretty safe play in my book. I think he's going to garnish probably 20 to 25% of the ownership, saying, okay, he's a safe dominator. Like, he's $7,300. He doesn't have to do a whole ton for me. So, like, okay, I can see you going there quite a bit. I like Amarola here. So, like I said, 20, 25 laps led, which is like the whole first stage. I can see him getting you there. So, like I said, Amarola, again, if you're doing small entry, you're taking a stand. Are you going over the field and hoping to God he does what he's supposed to do to pay off right off the bat? Like, again, Amarola, just like Blaney, you're going to know the first 15, 20 laps if he's going to pay off probably. So, then we roll into Ty Dillon, and everybody's going to look at that 34th place starting position. And, if you're building your teams, he's easy enough to take the safety of the place differential. You're expecting him, you're going to probably need a 25th or so. So you're asking for like 10 spots to get you somewhere near like 40 fantasy points scored. So, Ty Dillon, I like probably 25%. I see is where he's going to come in, across the, in like tournaments. I think he's a safe play if you're trying to play cash. I do like that because, like I said, you're not asking a whole ton. Erik Jones, probably the biggest piece of chalk this week. He's just so cheap, like $7,100. Like that, you put him in, that leaves you almost $8,600 for the other five. And then, like I said, you go take an Amarola at $7,300. You're getting close to $9,000 that you could spend the rest of your under your lineup. So then you're going to scroll back up to the top and say, what, where am I going? What am I asking for dominators from these guys, or am I taking place differential safety? So, yeah, I think Jones is going to be ridiculous, probably 40+%, just because he does make roster construction super easy if you plug him in as a piece. So, Daniel Suarez, as we get into these six, like last guy in the 7K range, or the first guy in the 6K range, Suarez, like I said, you're not asking a whole ton out of him. He's been good here, but in good equipment. So I don't think you're going to have to go there. I mean, if you looked at him on a average finish chart, he's up here at 13.3 with a couple of top 10s out of the last six, but that was in Stewart-Haas equipment. So I'd rather play the guy that's in his car than I would the guy that was driving the car. So I'd rather play the car than the driver in that situation. So, if you're building, 20 entry max, it's like I said, you're going to play him and hope to God he gets you a 25th or better, and you're going to pay him like 20% and 4 or 5 lineups because you got to get that stand because you think he's going to be optimal. Or again, you're going to just X him out and say, I'm not convinced with his recent form that he's going to get you there. I don't think Suarez is finished 28th, 31st, 27th, 31st. Like, that's not going to be enough to get you there. You're going to need something, like he did in the Food City 500, where he got you like an 18th on strategy. But I could see him going a lap or two down and not being able to dig himself out of that hole. So, like I said, you're taking a stand left to right. If he's able to stay on the lead lap, then, by all means, I could see you going there, but not safe in any means. Ryan Newman, you're looking at Newman and he's like 13th, and you're like, damn, And then you're like, he's $6,700. Damn. Like, what do I do with that? Like, again, Newman's pretty much just got to finish where he started to probably get you close to paying off. So you're not asking, like I said, the world out of the guy. But I could see him getting you there, but again, not safe by any means. I could see Newman being a bigger piece of tomorrow's race. Just because if anything goes astray and he finishes outside the top 20, that's where he's starting tomorrow. They're only inverting the top 20 from what I understand. So, again, you're not asking a whole ton out of him, but you're still asking something out of him. So, I don't think he's going to be having any crazy ownership. It's like if you're going down here, it's because you're playing a guy that's either super safe or a guy that's going to be super low owned. It's going to be crazy disparity between these guys as far as why people are going to play him. And then especially with Newman, when you've got Chris Buescher, Cole Custer, even Austin Dillon, Ryan Preece, LaJoie, McDowell, these guys down here that are probably way safer than him, I could see him getting completely looked over as well too. So again, if you're building a 20 entry max, you're taking a stand and you're putting him on 3 or 4 because you think he's going to get you a top 5, or you're not playing him at all because you think he's going to finish, 15th or worse, or horrifically 20th or worse. So, but it's Ryan Newman. So again, another guy that's fairly, hit or miss for us this year. Not gotten this for the last 2 races, but it's $6,700 if he goes out and does what he was normally doing before that, getting it inside the top 15 for these finishes. I could see Newman squeezing himself in there and being somebody that's going to be a little bit of a difference maker. But again, you're playing him not so much based off of like his track history, which is okay. You're playing him more because of the super low ownership. Chris Buescher and Cole Custer and Austin Dillon, I think all are kind of in that same boat. Like pretty much this $6,700 to, $6K range. These guys are all going to be really in the same boat. And like I said, when you're putting them on your lineup, it's like, are you taking the safety of place differential, or are you taking a swing because these guys still got to do quite a good amount for you, but not like they don't do world changing. Like I said, Newman probably inside the top 8 probably pays off for you. Austin Dillon, if he gets inside the top 10, would pay off for you. Chris Buescher, Cole Custer probably just need to get you inside the top 15, which is doable for both of them. And John Hunter Nemechek, you're asking probably the most out of him. In this price range. I think the other guys are a little bit safer than him, but again, you're playing these guys because of the ownership. These guys are all going to be in that 5 to 15% range, and it's like when you're doing your roster construction and you're building for tournament teams, you're going to have to take stabs with these guys because, again, you're not asking a ton, you're asking a little bit, and these guys could do it for you. And you're going to get them at super low ownership. As you roll into these 5K guys, Preece, I think, is going to probably be the safest. And, if you're trying to build cash lineups, I think he's super safe for cash this week. You're going to put him in, and it's practically $9,000 for the other 5. Easy enough plug and play. But I think really when you get down into this like 6,500, probably this 6,500-ish down to like McDowell, we could even say it's 7K down through 7 to 5,500. This is what's going to make roster construction easy, is taking one of these guys, and they're saying, okay, I'm taking a stand on this guy for this reason, for this lineup. You're building a 2-3 dominator lineup. You're going to probably have to grab somebody in this range. And then that's, like I said, you're making your decision from safety. Or are you building, are your other plays already too safe and you're taking a stab with this cheap guy for, the place differential and not needing a whole ton out of him. So, so roll into, Chris Buescher, Cole Custer, like I said, same thing, top 15s. They need to get you there. Austin Dillon gets you to top 10. He's going to get you there. Nemechek, probably top 13, top 14, hopefully maybe even squeezes in the top 10. So that's what's going to take to get him there. Corey LaJoie, $5,600. Like the massive price jump down to LaJoie. I don't think he's going to be super popular because, again, you don't need to probably get down here if you're building a 1-2 dominator lineup. It's more if you're thinking 2-3 people are going to lead, 20, 30 laps and get you solid finishes, and you're trying to build a team that way, is I think where you're going to get pushed down here, maybe for one of those teams. But again, you just need one piece. Like I wouldn't have more than, I probably wouldn't have more than one guy sub Suarez on my lineup if I can. And if I am doing anything more than that, you're taking something you're probably going to want to take. One is the low-owned piece, and one is the safe piece, like taking a McDowell or a LaJoy, which are safe-ish and cheap, 10-15% ownership, I think, on those guys, because, like I said, you don't really need to get down here. And then if you're building, 20 teams, anybody from Brennan Poole down, just X them out. Like, you're not going to need these guys. They're not fast enough. This track is treacherous, but it's not a wrecky track, so again, these guys are probably going to go 2-3 laps down in the first few minutes, first 15, 20 laps. So like I said, you don't really need to get down there. Like it's not worthwhile to play any of those guys, because I don't think you're going to need to. So, race length today, it is 136 laps, I believe, today, and it's like 140 tomorrow. 140, I believe, tomorrow. So, like I said, there's not enough dominator points to really have to get crazy with these dominators. I think when you're playing your dominator pool, you're more looking for the cheaper dominator that's going to get you just a little bit than you are these guys that are going to go out and get you 50, 60. But you're going to want a couple pieces of those, those guys that you're playing, like your Harvics and your Keselowski, your Harvics, your Truexes, your Chase Elliott's, like those are the guys you're going to need probably 30, 40 and a solid finish out of to pay off. And then as you start getting cheaper into your Blaney's, your Hamlins, your even Kyle Busch at $9,300, like you're just asking a little bit less out of them. And if we look at like the Pocono laps led, even over the last few races, I mean, you're looking at it, it's pretty solid. You've got, Kyle Busch led over 50 in the last 3, and you see Kevin Harvic got you 30, and from Kevin Harvic at the price tag, you're looking at these 60s and 80s, and going, okay, maybe he can get me there this week. And then again, you start getting into the guys that are a little bit cheaper. Your Denny Hamlin's, he's only led 30 laps here, but he's cheap enough this week that you could take a stab at him, because you're only going to need, like I said, 15, 20, correlated with those laps or fastest laps as well. And then again, these cheaper options, like you're getting into your William Byrons, your Ryan Blaney's, he's gotten you there like that. Even a Ricky Stenhouse here with the 11 lap sled. So, lo and behold, Chris Buescher, like, not that I think that's going to happen this week, but something like that for Chris Buescher, he's going to get you there. And then again, like I said, with these low-owned guys, Logano and Keselowski, like with their price tags, again, you're looking for them to have these types of races, where they're going to get you a good 20. You Logano over those 3 races early in 15 and 16, you get a performance like that, you're there. So, like I said, you're not asking the world out of these drivers this week. Text, we got any questions coming? If you guys got questions, fire them up, man. I'm going to get over to the FanDuel, I guess. I'll try to get a little bit over here on FanDuel. I'll try to roll through it pretty quick. Like I said, I'm not a big FanDuel guy. But Kevin Harvic, 9th. You're expecting Kevin Harvic to win this race or finish inside the top 3 to potentially pay off. I think FanDuel this week, it's going to be, you're looking, I think, what is it, 12 or 13 freaking fantasy points for laps led. Like, that doesn't make any difference. You just need all 5 of your drivers here to finish inside the top 15 to probably top 20 to cash. And having the right either dominator pieces or the guys that are in like the top 2-3 finishing positions to get there this week. So Kevin Harvic, I think, could get you there at $14,000. Makes it really pricey. Kyle Busch, 13.5, like that. He'd be a solid play, I think, for me this week. Denny Hamlin, again, you're a little bit cheaper. I like that. He's more attractive to me over on DraftKings for sure. Martin Truex, again, you're hoping for a top 5 finish, probably to pay off that price tag for him. Chase Elliott, you probably need a win, or top 3 with some dominator points. Don't mean anything. You probably need a win. Joey Logano, pretty much same thing. Ryan Blaney, starting to get a little bit cheaper. if he goes out and wins this race or finishes top 3, top 5, I think he gets you there. Same thing, Brad K. You need probably top 3. Alex Bowman, like I said, again, you're hoping for top 5 probably at that. William Byron probably somewhere in top 10 if you think he can get you there. Erik Jones, love the price tag, so you get 19th place. You expect Erik Jones to get you a 10th or so. I think he'd be one of the guys that could squeeze in on the optimal. Kurt Busch, probably super low owned just because of the other plays around him, so you'd be playing him for ownership. Jimmy Johnson starting 12th again. You're getting a little bit cheaper. You don't need too much out of him. Same thing with Clint Bowyer. I think if you're building like one of these studs, like you're going to go plug in a Kyle Busch, and we see where Eric Amarola is. I think Eric Amarola would definitely make my starting lineup. So that gives me, what's that leave us left? Usually $9,200. So, I think if you really wanted to do that, if I was building a cash team over here, I mean, if you wanted to be really crazy and you think Ryan Preece goes out and gets your top 20, you do that. That leaves you with almost $11,000, which means you can just scroll right back to the top and decide which of these pieces you think is going to do the most for you. Look at $11,000. What do we want to do here? I could see like a Brad Keselowski sneaking me in the top, 3, top 5, and then Erik Jones is so safe, and you build a team like that. Not that I'm calling that a cash team, but I think that's where you're going to probably end up with, your FanDuel teams this week. Like it is always on FanDuel. I don't think you need to go anybody sub, maybe LaJoy, I think would be it again. And LaJoy, again, you're only building that if the rest of your team is, dominator dependent, and, you're thinking the piece of LaJoy getting you probably inside the top 20, I don't think is going to be horrible for you. Top 15, I think LaJoy takes you there at $4,500. That's how he's going to have to get you there. Same thing with Suarez. You're going to need probably top 25. And I don't think it's still enough. You would need probably a top 20 for Suarez to be somebody that comes out optimal, but there's a chance. Same thing with McDowell. Ty Dillon's probably safest at $6,000. If I really wanted to be super top heavy, I'd probably build around Ty Dillon, starting 34th, because that gives me $11,000. Like I can literally do whatever I want up here. If I go grab myself somebody like an Eric Amarola, again, that you think he's going to lead the start of this race, leaves you almost 11.5. So, again, I could see you building around that, taking the one dominator that's safe, taking the one place differential guy that's super safe, and then, doing what you want from there. So, let me see. We got Jeremy Duggins, got Harvic, Bowyer, MDB, Bell, Erik Jones for FanDuel cash. Yeah, I would take that all day long. You said FanDuel cash. Let me see what we got here. We got Harvic. Like I said, I like Harvic. I'd almost build that same exact lineup again, but swap Harvic for Kyle Busch. If you wanted to do that as your other side of a cash lineup, and just hope to get both of them get there, that's super safe. So, definitely could see you guys going there. Anybody else got any questions? I think I said we're going to get out of here. Give us that like button, give us that subscribe button, man. We're here every week. I'll be here tomorrow, probably roughly around the same time, 1 o'clock. So we got the race tomorrow at 4. What we're going to look at for tomorrow is, like I said, top 20 starting positions are inverted for tomorrow. So you win the race, you're starting 20th. That's going to make these guys, super plug and play, I think, for tomorrow. So you're comparing the caching to today and tomorrow. I think you're going to see that you'll get less ties today than you will tomorrow. But still, again, it's going to be easier, I think, to build. You're going to be building cash teams. They're going to almost write themselves, based on how these guys finish. So, like I said, we'll see. I'm going to build probably fairly small today, 20, 30 teams, I think. Nothing crazy. Like I said, fire the questions up, guys. Got about 2-3 minutes. Come find us, like I said, over at wisetake.com. Jeremy Duggan with Harvic and MDB safer than Elliott and Byron. the combination of the two of those guys, Harvic and MDB, I think are safer. But I do like Elliott and Byron. I mean, it's like I said, you're a FanDuel guy. So let me see Byron. Yeah, Byron, you're looking at the 10-4. You got Chase Elliott at 12-2. And then you're saying Harvic and MDB. MDB is just cheap, man. Yeah, I'm going to definitely see leaning to Harvic. MDB is safer than the other two. But again, you can play them both, man. Like they're both good plays. Harvic, even Elliott and Byron. Like I said, for Byron, you're just hoping for probably a top 10. I think if you're playing Byron, you're going to need all 5 of your guys to finish inside the top 10 in order to pay off or really close to that to get deep in a tournament. So, but like I said, wisetake.com, man, hit us up. We got the day pass options. We've got the season passes for the sports. We've also got, like I said, the monthly subscription. Get you the Slack chat. Members are always up in there. They're acting a fool. And, everybody's going back and forth bantering of, why am I taking a stand on this guy? Why am I taking a stand on that guy? And the information, it makes it great, man. We're not a community selling you picks. We're a community making you a better DFS player. We've got the intro to NASCAR video. If you want to come check it out, how to play intro to how to play NASCAR on these basic types of tracks. We got the video. That's still free. But come check us out, man. The NASCAR Day Pass is cheap. Come check it out, man. You got the cheat sheets. You got the projections, projections models. So, we're here for you. I'm always up in the Slack talking to members. Let me just check, see if we got any more questions this week. We got Garrett Mendenhall. Did you say you think – who do I think wins today? All right, so you're looking at it from a betting perspective. Who do I think wins today? Safest, probably Kyle Busch. For winning, but I know the freaking odds are going to be garbage. If I'm taking a stab on somebody that's probably going to have lower, let me see what we got for betting. We got the sports book. If I'm quickly scrolling through, probably like an Amarola or a Blaney, I think are going to be, guys you could take a stand on for, super low owned or getting you the payout. The Blaney's plus 1,000 on DraftKings Sportsbook, and then Amarola's plus 6,000. I do like that. The race is going to have to really play out for Amarola for him to pull off the win, but do I think it's impossible? No. I do like that plus 6,000 odds. I probably, Amarola, somebody throw $5 at it. Amarola finishes inside the top 3. He's playing you plus 1,400. That's even a little bit safer. So. I could see you going there. But like I said, Kyle Busch's odds plus 450. If you're playing Kyle Busch, you're throwing like a $50 bill at it and going, all right, I'm going to turn this into 200 instead of throwing $10 at a guy or $5 or $1 at a guy that you're hoping to turn $1 into $60 on somebody like a Blaney or something like that. Dude, Logano I think is fairly cool. I like that at plus 1,100, or even Keselowski at plus 900, I guess. 2. Probably the safest option. Let's see what we got. Top car by manufacturer. Yeah, Toyota, everybody thinks pretty safe to win this race. Get 5 wins on that. Again, you're taking a big, massive price out on that. So, yeah. You're welcome, Garrett, man. Hope to see you guys here next week, man. Or tomorrow. Hit us back, man. Make sure if you hit that notifications button, you'll know when we're starting next week. Should be ready to set again right around 1. Got my counterpart, Clint hit me up tomorrow. So you have a 2-man show. But like I said, if you guys got any questions, you can try to hit me up on Twitter at kartracing_22. I'll try to get those questions in, man. But like I said, just come check us out, man. The Wise Take family, Wise Take Nation, man. I love being a part of it, man. So, come check us out. Thanks.
Yeah.